Hello, and welcome to Words Beyond Earth. This is a space for souls who've never quite felt like they belong here on Earth, and now are starting to remember why. Here we talk spirituality, crystals, star seeds, the soul's journey across dimensions. I'm Marina, and together we will remember who we are, where we came from, and why we're here. Let's go beyond. Hello, guys. So today's week's topic is very interesting. I had a very deep conversation the other day about happiness. What makes us happy, why some people are naturally and easily happy, and why some people really struggle to feel happiness. My initial response was actually quite simple, and I felt that it represents my opinion in a very simple way. But I actually received follow up questions, and it turned out that my interpretation of happiness and my solution to feeling happy was actually not quite intuitive. And I thought, that's interesting. I would like to specify, I would like to share my opinion with more people because maybe it will help you to feel more happy in your daily life, and maybe it will help you to share this with other people and to help others also to be happier. So today's question is what happiness is and why most people cannot be constantly happy. What is the secret of monks who claim to always be happy? So let's start with the definition, because of course every person can have their own definition. Moreover, happiness is definitely a topic that has been discussed throughout ages by different scholars, people of science, people of art, people studying history, sociology, poets, artists, musicians. This is, of course, the topic for every person on earth because this is part of our experience in this life. So, what happiness is to me, how I define it, and maybe this definition will relate to your definition. Maybe we will find a common ground there. So, to me, happiness is a state of contentment. It's a state where I'm content with my life. I wouldn't say that happiness is necessarily correlated with feeling very positive, very uplifting, very happy emotions, because to me, feeling strong emotions is bringing us slightly off balance, and to me, happiness is the state of balance. Hence, I describe the state of happiness as the state of being content. I would add that this is a state to me when I feel calm, I feel focused, nothing distracts me, I feel just present, and I feel being in a moment. I feel like I'm enjoying the moment. Now, to address immediately one of the first questions that pop into mind. So, does it mean that does it mean that happiness relates to experiencing positive emotions? And does it mean that happiness means the absence of negative emotions? And here I would say that to me, happiness is not necessarily correlated with emotional states. So I can experience positive emotions, and they, of course, add up to my sense of contentment. But if I do experience negative emotions, that does not take out of my state of contentment. Of course, the caveat is that you need to look at how long you experience certain emotions, right? If something negative and really hard and sad is affecting you for a very long time, then of course you can say that your state of happiness is affected because you're not content when you are being sad or experiencing other negative emotions for a long period of time, right? But at the same time, I would say that negative emotions like anger, frustration, irritation, or even fear, stress can be present in a person while the person still can say that they are genuinely happy. So for me, happiness is a more broad container of state of contentment, while emotions and feelings are slightly more short term when compared to happiness. So emotions and feelings are more flexible, they change much more, they're fluctuating all the time based on our own experiences, based on events that are happening to us, whereas the state of happiness to me is not correlated necessarily with the state of emotions unless I allow it to do so. So when I experience positive emotions, I allow this to add to my state of happiness. When I'm experiencing negative emotions, I do not allow that to affect my state of happiness. So we will get back to this decision a little bit later. Like, what does it mean by saying I allow it to affect or I don't allow it to affect? I will explain more why I believe happiness is a choice. But first, before we go into the practical aspect of how to be happy, how to feel happiness all the time, I would like to discuss several pitfalls or several mistakes that people do that bring them away from happiness in a broad sense. So, in my personal definition, it brings them away from the state of contentment, and you can decide it for yourself. How do these pitfalls affect your state of happiness? So, the first pitfall, the first mistake is that generally people are very, very distracted, especially in this time and age with social media, with demands of our job, with the news. So we are very, very distracted all the time. Our attention jumps from one thing to another. We do not have any time to focus. We do not have any time to assess what is actually happening with us. We do not have time to process our emotions and feelings and decide how do they actually affect us. Do they have any effect on us, right? Most of the time something happens, we get emotional, we get triggered, and we act on it, and we don't even notice how this affects our long-term state. We do not have a chance to analyze whether it has effect on our happiness or not. Only looking back retroactively, we can decide if certain chain of events over a certain period of time had negative effect on our state of happiness. For example, when a specific date comes to a person, like their birthday or maybe Christmas or a family gathering, something like that, people become nostalgic, people think back about their life and they think, oh, I don't think I have been happy lately for a year or for 5 years, for 10 years, or even longer, because there were events that strayed me from my happiness, from things that make me happy, make me content. I followed certain path, I followed my decisions that led me away from that, and now I can conclude that I have been unhappy for past period of time. So because we are distracted, we do not really have the control over our state of happiness. We are following our emotions. Whatever our emotions are telling us about our state, we equal it to the state of happiness or unhappiness. And I think this is a pitfall, and I think we do have a choice in this matter. We have a choice to be in the moment, to notice what's happening to us, and to decide whether the current events that are happening to me today, my emotions, my feelings today, are going to affect my long term state. So, this is the pitfall number one. The second pitfall I already mentioned, but I think it deserves to be separated in a separate point. People are jumping from things to things because they are distracted, and we are prone to jump on the next thing without even analyzing what has just happened to us. We are always jumping for yet next achievement, for next promotion, for next salary raise, for next vacation. Some people jump to a next friendship, to next lover, next interest in entertainment that they're looking forward to. The world is fast paced. That is, of course, not a surprise to anyone. But I think it contains the pitfall and a trap that we very often fall into because we are jumping onto the next thing. We don't really have time to give back the choice over our state back to ourselves. We're always again led by some external activities, some external stimuli that are telling us what is next. So we're always looking forward, we're looking into the future, right? We're not being in the present moment. And at the same time, some people are looking back too much. They're looking too much in their past, and they experience very exaggerated state of nostalgia, which also distracts them from the moment now. So instead of enjoying the moment now and all the gifts that it has for us, we actually run away in our thoughts either into the past or into the future. I heard this beautiful metaphor. I think it was in a cartoon Kung Fu Panda where I heard it, but I'm pretty sure they were not the first ones to come up with this metaphor. They said, present is a gift. That's why it's called a present. A present is a gift that contains everything that we need in terms of happiness, in terms of contentment, positive emotions, focus, and everything like that. And it's a gift to us. And we are giving this gift away when we are escaping in our thoughts into the past and experiencing sadness and nostalgia, or into the future and experiencing anxiety and fear over the future events. I would say that if you look back over the last 5 years or so, just remember, what were you dreaming about 5 years ago that you actually do have already now? For example, 5 years ago, you really wanted to buy this new house or to start a family, to get a promotion, to get a new job, to move to a new country. You were only dreaming about it 5 years ago, but now you actually have it. Have you stepped aside from the daily speed and daily activities and fast-paced life to actually realize, wow, how much I actually have right now compared to my dreams 5 years ago or 10 years ago? Have you given yourself time to appreciate what you actually do have, or were you jumping always to the next thing? Because there's always so much to do and things are never going to run out of the need to attend to them, right? So that was the second pitfall. And the third pitfall I want to mention here is that people quite often put the source of their happiness outside of them instead of taking it from the inside of them. People feel like they always need some external proof or some external evidence in order to declare themselves happy. It's almost like people have a list of certain things that, as long as these external things are present in my life, I can consider myself happy. Like I have the mathematical right to add at the end of this equation happiness. So this is very analytical, almost a mathematical way to look at happiness. You know, like if X is greater than Y, then I'm happy. Then it's a true statement. If X is not greater than Y, then I cannot be happy. But no one really told us that the state of happiness has to be measured. It has to be objective. It does not have to be objective. In fact, things like happiness, things like love, they are the most subjective experiences a human can have. They are never objective. So why do you try to justify your state of happiness or unhappiness? Why do you always need to find a proof to declare yourself happy or unhappy? Why do you need a list of things? And if you fall short, then you say, yeah, I still do not have that perfect promotion, but as soon as I get it, then I will become finally happy. No, then we get back to the pitfall number 2. Then you will probably move on to next thing. You will not be happy at that point because, again, you will jump forward to desire something else. So I would suggest that we should probably try to look for the source of happiness within us. There is something inside of us that is not objective, that is subjective, but it is based on our desire, our control, our ability to base our happiness just on a decision to be happy, not necessarily an evidence of happiness. I hope you get what I mean. Just share in the comments if you really get what I'm trying to share here. So, as I said, happiness cannot be objective. It cannot be conditional. Same as love. And you know that most of the people actually do not experience true love, or at least not for the long period of time, because people make love just as conditional as happiness. As long as my partner is XYZ, then I will love them. But if my partner stops being XYZ or they are never XYZ, then I cannot love them because I can only love someone who fulfills my wish list of a perfect partner, of a perfect person. So the love, which is of course a big subject on its own, love also cannot be conditional. And that's why a lot of people also suffer from loneliness, suffer from being misunderstood, from being disconnected from others because they think that they were loving, but that was actually not love. That was just fulfilling of the wish list. But there is a small life hack. If you have experienced unconditional love, for example, if you're a parent, you have a chance to experience unconditional happiness as well, because you know what does it feel like to feel in love or to love someone unconditionally. You can also understand what is the experience of being unconditionally happy as well. Why do you love your child? Just because it's your child. And why do you feel happy? Just because I live today. Just because I am who I am. You love your child just because they are who they are, and you feel happy just because you are who you are, you know? So, if I were to summarize, my secret to happiness is very simple. It's my decision to be happy. It's my decision to be happy because I am. It's the decision. It's not the wish list that I need to fulfill every single day to make me happy. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I get very bad days. Sometimes something really terrible happens, something that can make me very upset, very stressed, very scared. I do still have my shadows, my fears, my programs that I'm following, and some games that I'm still playing in the society. All those things are present, but they do not change my decision of being happy. It's my decision. I took it. I have the freedom to decide that. And I do not have to justify it. I do not have to justify it by my possessions, by my activities, by my partner, by my family, by the size of my house or the amount of my cars or amount of my travels or, anything like that. My decision to be happy just based on the fact that I am, that I exist, and I want to be happy, because feeling of happiness is a great experience for me. I like being content, I like being focused, I like being present. I do not necessarily have to experience this dopamine and serotonin rush all the time. I do not need to have very strong positive emotional experiences all the time. Of course, they're great. I love listening to great songs. I love eating great food. I love great conversations with people who are very dear to me. Of course, I love all of this. I am excited by traveling. I'm excited going shopping and buying things that I really love, but they are not a prerequisite for me being happy. My only prerequisite of being happy is to wake up in the morning and decide that. So I would say that my happiness is not the outcome. It's not a byproduct. It's a starting point. So instead of making my happiness a byproduct of my actions or possessions, it's actually a starting point for me. So basically, I wake up in the morning and I decide that I'm happy today, instead of looking at my previous day in the evening and deciding if the day was good enough for me to be happy. You know what I mean? So I would suggest you, of course, several exercises. And the first very powerful exercise is, of course, gratitude. There are no very specific rules to this exercise. You just list and name things that you are very grateful for and you feel in your heart that they make you happy and content. But I do know that some people find gratitude exercise very, very tough for them. And it actually makes them feel less happy because they struggle to find things to be grateful for. But also, when they try to find these things, they actually find more things that they do not have, which makes them very unhappy. So it can really backfire in some cases. So I would say that if great gratitude exercise does not work for you, that is okay. That's also a very big separate topic, why this practice is very powerful if you do it right, and how it can literally change your life. Only this one practice, gratitude, can absolutely turn your life 360 as many times as you possibly want in your life. But for today, I want to suggest a different exercise. It's more of a imagination practice. So imagine happiness is like a daily choice of clothes. You wake up in the morning, you choose the clothes that you're gonna wear, this particular shirt, this particular jeans, this particular sneakers and socks. This is their design, this is their color, that's what they are. You're gonna wear the shirt for the rest of the day. Imagine that you're choosing to be happy exactly like that. No matter what happens to you throughout the day, your change of clothes is most likely not going to change unless you really want to change your clothes for some specific reason. But if nothing really happens, then you just continue wearing the same shirt. Yes, someone can shout at you in a supermarket, you're still wearing the same shirt. Yes, you can lose your job, but you're still wearing the same shirt. Yes, you had a fight with your loved one, yet you're still wearing exactly the same shirt. Why you need to change the shirt every single time something negative happens to you, or your socks, or your jeans, right? You don't do that. You keep wearing the same set of clothes until you take them off in the evening before going to bed. So imagine putting on happiness as a set of clothes every single morning. You wake up and you decide, today I'm going to be happy. That's my set of clothes for today. It's happiness. No matter what's going to happen to me, that's what I choose to wear today. Tomorrow, I will see how it goes, but today, this is my choice. This is the very interesting exercise that I'm really sure is going to be interesting to play with for some of you. And let me know how did it go for you. I'm very curious to hear about your experience. Let me know what is your definition of happiness, whether you are a happy person and whether it comes very easy to you. And of course, if you liked this episode, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. If you want me to help, if you like this episode, please like this. If you like this topic, please give this episode a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to help me reach more people like you and me, for whom this information can be useful, if you like this topic, please like this episode and subscribe to my channel, guys. It will really help me to reach more people like you and me for whom this information may be useful. And as always, from my heart to yours, remember who you are, stay curious, stay open. You are worth beyond earth. Until next time, my friend.